Hello there, this is Fleagle Floggle or Eddie here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another ranked worst to best list. And of course, as you can read by the title, it's my opinion of the worst to best Radiohead albums. Radiohead is probably my favourite modern band. So much diversity, brilliant lyrics, and a wonderful vocalist, obviously by Tom York. The whole band's just absolutely brilliant, and I think that they've made so many influential and revolutionary albums that are great. So let's get started now. I'm just going to quickly say that this list won't include EPs, so it won't include like My Iron Lung EP, Airbag, How Am I Driving, Go Con Lag. However, it will include Tom York's catalogue, i.e. his solo stuff, as well as with Atoms for Peace. Okay. So then, as with the Pink Floyd list, this worst album will probably not surprise anyone, but here it is. It's the debut album by them, Pablo Honey. Now, the reason why I think this personally is that there are quite a few songs that are just forgettable. They're not so much as bad, but they're forgettable. When I'm talking about these, I'm talking like Prove Yourself, I Can't, probably Lurgy as well. Stop Whispering, I'm not that bothered about. However, I still think even though it's the worst one, it's quite underrated. For example, I Love You. Obviously, it's got the classic Creep. I love Thinking About You. Vegetables, a great song. Ripcords, a great song. And Anyone Can Play Guitar is an interesting one. Perhaps sort of hinting on the forthcoming of The Bends, probably the most like song that Radiohead that you should understand, if you want to put it like that. So that's probably a Radiohead song that you would at least vote with. But yeah, not a bad album at all. The next album is Hail to the Thief. Now, the only reason why this isn't, well, it's not, well, it is low, but still a really great album, is that it includes two of my least favourite ever Radiohead songs, and that's Scatterbrain, which I just not bothered at all, and even worse is We Suck Youngblood. Maybe sort of like a chat back to Muse. People always called Muse as a sort of cover band to Radiohead, and this sort of sounds like a cover band for Muse. Just the noises that Tom York makes, like the way and stuff like that when he's playing the piano. I find it really cheesy, and the hand claps, and nah, really don't like that song at all. But positives I can talk about is the length of the album's really good, so perhaps even though I'm not bothered about these songs, they work better as listening to one thing. And then include my favourite ever Radiohead songs as well, mainly A Wolf at the Door, Where I End and You Begins, beautiful. Sit Up, Stand Down is brilliant, 2 + 2 = 5. There's a classic. I could go on and go on actually. Loads of great songs, absolutely brilliant. Well, the album isn't, but many of the songs are. The next one is the most, well, talking from now, and you might be watching this a year or two later, the most recent release. Say that bit, there we are. Amok. Now, this is a very interesting album. Some people call this a better version of what Tom York tried to do with The King of Limbs. Many people complained on that there was too many rhythms that just kept repeating, and I wasn't bothered about that, as you can see why eventually. And they say this is more interesting, and I certainly agree in a sort of form of way. For example, I do agree that some songs on The King of Limbs do get a bit boring, as in a bit long, repeating and stuff, and there are quite a few changes in Amok. I mean, they couldn't talk about Before Your Very Eyes, Stuck Together Pieces, and the very interesting Judge During the Executioner, which certainly much more of the darker stuff that you will usually expect from the more releases of like the Hail to the Thief era. But again, there's some songs I'm just not that bothered about, which I'm saying that because later you'll get to a point where there's every song I pretty much love off the albums. I'm not that really bothered about Unless, I don't know why, and Reverse Running, don't know as well, I'm not that bothered about, but great songs that you should definitely check out is Before Your Very Eyes, Default, Stuck Together Pieces, Judge, Jury and Executioner, and amongst a pretty good song as well. Well then, moving on is Amnesiac. Now, again, going on about this is an interesting release because I have to give it to them. This was released, I think, 9 months for the time of Kid A, and in that short space of time, they certainly made a brilliant album overall that I could talk about like that. I mean, there's some brilliant songs again. People go apeshit about Pyramid Song. It's really good, but it's like I wouldn't have it like really high for anything that I have to make. And Knives Out I'm not bothered about, and some people might be disappointed with what is known as Morning Bell Amnesia, a little play on word here, because it sort of worked in a way because I didn't realise it was the Morning Bell of Kid A, and it is quite different, certainly more moody and a bit more even darker as well. I sort of feel like a bit apocalyptic really with it. And some people just won't care all about Pull Revolving Doors, but I think it's brilliant. Just so sometimes you get these things where you have something weird but it's catchy at the same time, and I just love it as well. Maybe the vocal on it is a bit disappointing, but I think it's great. Really creepy but funny as well. I might be wrong, the ending on that is perfect. Hunting Bears is a great song. I love the sort of psychedelic stuff that they went with, like Spinning Plates, Pat Like Sardines and the Crushed Tin Box. I love that song as well. So there you are. Oh, New and Who's Army is great vocals and great lyrics on that. So overall, really good album, but not my favourite. Moving on is the 2006 or 7 release, I'm not too sure, by Tom York, just known as Tom York here, The Eraser. And The Eraser contains, once again, very techno sort of songs, certainly more techno than you usually get, even more than you'd probably experience yet, you know, like Kid A was sort of more techno, but this is the most techno-iest album that they had, although they do get more like that in parts of In Rainbows, and certainly more to the latter part of their career so far. And you certainly see this with stuff like the Eraser title track, The Clock, Skip Divided, the title track, but my personal favourite, and most people would say that, is the main single off this, Harrow Downhill, which has really lovely bass, great vocals. I recommend the video for it, brilliant. And there's no real bad song. We've got to the point now where there's no bad song or a song I'm really not bothered about. Perhaps Symbol Rush was a bit of a disappointing ending, and I was sort of hoping a bit more for Analyze, but apart from that, not at all. Also, I'd recommend that you look out for Black Swan. That's certainly the most darkest song that they've ever made. You just need to listen to the lyrics for that. Here you are. Here we are. You're probably thinking, come on, have this now, you should have it by now, you should have it in your list, but now I have it. The King of Limbs, certainly the most underrated album ever by them. And I just think this is just replaced by, you know, I got into Radiohead a couple of months before this was released, and people probably thought this, in just such a long time people had to wait for this album. And although it was worth it, many people would say for In Rainbows for the time waiting for there, they wouldn't say it for here. So personally, if I experienced of the wait that I think I had to wait for 6 years for a proper release by Radiohead, I probably would have this lower, but I don't have this, so maybe I'm a bit biased in that sort of case. People go on about how there's only 8 songs, but again, I think they're really great. I think there's only one song I'm not bothered about. But alright then. Okay, so this is the last song of any album by them that I don't care about, and it's Give Up the Ghost. And I just find that because I find the lyrics a bit annoying and repetitive. And you might find that, I might not. I think it has got a very nice ambient, ethereal texture to it, but I'm not bothered about it. But every other song I really like at least. Step Out, of course, is Lotus Flower. Watch the video, brilliant. It's just so crazy, but one of those things where you should like it the more you watch it. and you should like this album the more you listen to it. Little by Little's great. I love the stuff that they do for Morning Mr. Magpie. It's a very sarcastic, satirical fill, especially for the chorus. Bloom. Feral's a very spooky song. Oh no, sorry, I was thinking of Codex. Feral's a nice little song as well. And Separated. What a brilliantly lovely end and finish this album. And I really do hope for a quicker release by them and something that might even top this. Going on next to the Bends. So the Bends is something that people would probably say is the greatest jump spy band of all time, and I would certainly get a shock listening to the Pablo Honey and then suddenly listening to Planet Telex. Certainly a big change. You could sort of have a bridge with My Iron Lung, but going on talking about this, there's so many great songs that I have to talk about, certainly songs that will just stand the test of time. I have a good buddy who loves Fake Plastic Trees to bits, and it's my least favourite probably, because I love the guitar for it, and again, as I keep saying, it holds a very strong, it grabs your attention and everything. The music video is great about it, but I could say just beats the music video, and just it's not that interesting. I sort of think of it as like the exit music for a film for OK Computer. Very nice to listen to, but not up there for me. I prefer more rockier, punchier, a bit different, and I do get this with this. I love the bends, I love Bones. You know, you don't really think of Radiohead as catchy, but those are two brilliant songs. My Iron Lung, the change that happens through that, where it sort of turns a bit more of a grimier, heavier, maybe tiny bit metal. Bulletproof, I Wish I Was great as well. I love the stuff that they've done with Sulk. Oh, that's a great song as well. Street Spirit Fade Out is something that everyone really likes. And High and Dry, what a lovely song. High and Dry is probably the first song I ever heard by them, so it's certainly a personal love for me, but of course I'm sure loads of other people love it. Moving on. This top 3 is something that probably many people would have, but anyways. Number 3 is In Rainbows, and I absolutely adore this album. I adore quite a few Radiohead albums really overall, but this album is fantastic. Really, if you don't have this yet, it's brilliant. I definitely have to say it's a modern masterpiece, and there's just so much I love about it. It holds the rock that you get, and I love the darker stuff of rock that I especially love, and I get that with like Body Snatchers and Reckoner and Jigsaw falling into place, but it also brings these techno boundaries that I loved of Kid A, parts of Hail to the Thief, and I will love later on. The 15 Steps, Nude is beautiful. That's just one of those songs where you hear it first time and you sort of get a bit shivery. And House of Cards as well. It's the vocal delivery on Tom York is lovely, absolutely brilliant. And Videotape. I keep forgetting about all the Radiohead songs. I absolutely love going through this. But Videotape is one of the best songs I've ever heard. Up there, definitely. And Weird Fishes is great as well. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Radiohead. In Rainbows, just absolutely brilliant album. Definitely get it. Right, these two always change, and I don't have it, but I don't know where it is. I found out my dad hidden it because he told us that he actually had 2 copies, and my sister nicked one, and he said he's hiding the other one so no one else nicks it. So I think he's talking about me. So we'll just have to pretend that OK Computer is in my hands for number 2. This is 2 and 1. It's just the other one that you should guess just reached the first place spot. But OK Computer is an absolutely brilliant album. It's my dad's favourite album, and he's one of those people where if you would say something's brilliant, he would say it's pretty good. If you would say something's alright, he would say it's terrible. And this is his favourite, and even he says this is a fantastic album. And another thing that I have to talk about with it as well is that this album took us a while to get into it, certainly. This is the first album where it took us at least 6 or 7 times to fully click with it. But once you do, it's brilliant. Now, some of the stuff that goes on, maybe you wouldn't notice at first, but I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't say that it isn't accessible, because there's certainly songs that you should get first or second time. Just going off my line now, of course, I would have to talk about No Surprises, which is just No Surprises and High and Dry were 2 lovely songs that I sort of got. I'm talking when I was about 8 or 7 here, which is maybe a bit young, but I'm rambling here. Lucky as well should be something that you should get, and yeah, that's pretty much it really. But Paranoid Android, The Tourist, Airbag, and my favourite ever Radiohead song is on here, and you might not agree what it is, but it is my favourite Radiohead song ever, and I'm sure it'll stay like this, is Climbing Up the Walls. So yeah, the only reason why I just scraped 2 is that I'm not that bothered about Lucky, and again, loads of people say it's such a fantastic song, but I find it a bit slow paced. And I also have to say on OK Computer, I know this video is really long, but this is certainly an album you should listen to all the way through, because I couldn't really imagine listening to Subterranean Homesick Alien by itself. It sounds like an album that you'd listen to the pitch black and dark while driving. You can maybe if you listen to Subterranean Homesick Alien, you might know what I'm getting at there. But yeah, there you are. And number 1, ladies and gentlemen, is Kid A. And it's one of those, have you ever had one of those albums where you just looked at the album cover and you thought, this is going to be epic? Well, this is what I got up here. There's sometimes occasionally in my life where I look at an album cover and tell it's going to be good, like Animals by Pink Floyd, my favourite Pink Floyd album, as you should know from my previous list. If you haven't seen that, whoops, spoiler alert. And I got this with Kid A. Kid A is one of those times where I just listened to it first time, and you might call this a big softie, but I remember listening to it on a cold November's day, and I think I might have got a few tears in the eye when I listened to the title track. I love the title track so much that I plan on doing that as an A-level. I'm going to try and make a music video for this song, so we'll just look for that. I could go for every single one, and there's just something out there that just makes us love it to bits. Again, incorporates the rockier elements. I mean, the National Anthem's bass is one of the most brilliant things, and how they make it so that How to Disappear completely is a slow, softer rock song, and you listen to these 3 very heavy-inducing, clangy, and electronic songs, and then you listen to something that's quite like a fresh air, even though it's not been the thing where you were sick of the other 3. Tree Fingers, very lovely. It sort of shows a bit more influence for Aphex Twin. Perhaps Kid A, I certainly think of the Aphex Twin, and stuff like Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, something I can imagine what will happen in Tree Fingers. You get rockier songs with In Limbo, Morning Bell, the drum, that's great as well. But the stuff that I prefer is like more darker techno, so stuff like I say, Everything That's Right Place, Kid A, Idiotech are my favourites on the album. Motion picture soundtrack's brilliant as well. And that's it. Every song's brilliant, I have to say. And that's it. That is it. So then, thank you very much for watching, if you watched it all. Really appreciate it for doing so if you have, and not just skip to the end. Comment if you want to see another list like this. Maybe pick out a band, hopefully a band that I'll know the full discography on. Hope you enjoyed it. Rate whatever you think. If you thought it was a piece of doo-doo, then dislike. If you thought it was really good, like. If you just didn't think anything, don't do anything at all. Please comment on what your thoughts were on the list. Like I say, subscribe if you want to subscribe. And see you later. Bye-bye.